Yeah.
David lived to get up there
Mm-hmm.
and literally deny the Trinity in his preaching. Like, we've proved it. Like, he doesn't teach.
You know,
that,
I was listening to a sermon he was doing recently, and I was like, he don't sound Trinitarian.
Don, you're too smart for, you know that this is about the grace of Christ. It's not about skin color.
But why
You
is
know-
it race? But somebody are the Israelites, right? Do you think it's a large percentage of born again Christians have demons?
I know that both you and I right now have.
Now we're getting to the fun stuff. Okay, all right. So, hey, what's good? What's good, Chris? And who's that? Joshua, what's going on?
What's up, bro?
What's happening, guys? Okay, well, hey, Chris, thanks for waiting, brother. Teach me about demons, man. Teach me about demons. Hey, you know what? I was watching their last video that you posted of you from, I think it's like 2013. Like you
Right,
were,
right.
yeah, and I was like, this guy, Chris, I was like, oh, Chris probably watches my streams and thinks I'm crazy. But then I listened to you go off, and I was like, oh, he just as crazy as me.
I'm huffing the same glue you're huffing, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty interesting. But yeah, all right. So we see a lot of stuff about demons in Christian, like, culture, right? Casting out of demons and all that. But I want to hear you talk about it.
All right. Well, I came to Christ. I don't know if you ever heard my testimony, but I was a demoniac. Like, I was like the guy that you read about in the Bible that was on the coast, like cutting himself, that
Really?
Jesus came to set free. So I was in New Jersey, and I was a heroin dealer and a career criminal there. And then I eventually got involved in the occult. But I was really an atheist, just getting involved in the occult to kind of prove to myself it wasn't real. Kind of prove like it's all fake.
Yeah.
And then when I ended up doing these rituals, it ended up working.
What
So
kind
I
of
became,
rituals?
I was like meditating and offering things to demons under a massive copper pyramid that I built in my house.
Wow.
So like I was basically reading stuff on the internet and reading like how to contact spirits, but at that point I didn't know it was like Lucifer's fallen spirits, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought I was like, you know, gonna contact like the same spirits like the dudes were contacting in like Bohemian Grove, like that I was reading about, like about the Illuminati, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nah, so you were like, I don't really believe in it, but then you built a copper pyramid? That sounds pretty invested.
Yeah, like, oh, I'm a dedicated. When I get something in my head, dude, I'm full throttle.
Yeah.
I went to Home Depot. I bought some copper pipes. You know, I was reading like it'll work better if it's made out of metal and it's made out of copper. And I went and bought like actual like plumbing pipes like at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And I constructed like the tip of the pyramid, bro, was like hitting the ceiling in my apartment in New Jersey. Like I had people coming in, buying heroin, you know, I was selling crack, and they would come in and be like, "What are you on, bro? Like, what is that thing?" And I'd be like, "Don't you worry. I'm doing some next level stuff. Like, just get your stuff and get out of here, you know?" And
bro,
yeah,
that's
so
crazy. You used to be a full-blown drug dealer, bro. Not even like I just sell a little weed. Like, you were selling the hard stuff.
Oh no, I was followed everywhere by the task force in New Jersey for like years.
Wow.
I was selling to like a large portion of northern New Jersey, and then you know, I was getting paranoid because these goofballs were following me around everywhere. Like, if I would get a sandwich anywhere I went, like I was being followed by police, and everyone was telling me I was about to get busted. And that's kind of why I went to look into the occult, because I was such a greedy, money loving, degenerate sinner that I was like, if I don't figure out another way to make tons of money, I'm not going to get to party in New York City anymore at Gansevoort Hotel buying $5,000, you know, tables at these clubs that I was hanging out at. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I basically got the long story short, bro. I got demon possessed doing that. Didn't realize I was worshiping the devil. I thought I was just, dabbling in this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was demon possessed already because I was a violent criminal. I wasn't just a drug dealer. Like I was frequently like assaulting people in bars and like all that junk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Getting in fights and everything. So yeah, so I was demonized already. Then I got involved in the occult, the meditating, the offering things to demons. And I was so ignorant that I was offering myself to the devil because I was sitting in the portal, like the pyramid is like the portal that you make for the spirits to come in,
Yeah.
you know? And I was putting my own self in there, just trying anything to get these spirits to come in. Basically,
So
like
you were actively inviting spirits to come and dwell within you.
oh yeah, I mean, I didn't understand at the time I was inviting them to come into my body,
Yeah.
but I was definitely actively doing everything I could do to invite them into the apartment so I can like, make some arrangements with them where they were supposed to work for me, right?
Right.
Like they were supposed to be doing what I said,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't turn out that way. That I was finished once I it's like the vampire movies, like you saw in back in the day, where once you let them in, you can't get them back out.
Yeah.
Like they trick you to let them in.
Mm-hmm.
So then I ended up going to some backwoods. First, I went to the Roman Catholic Church. Once I realized like I was possessed by the devil full bore,
Mm-hmm.
because weird things were happening. Like my arm would get completely possessed, my right arm. And
Mm-hmm.
I was basically trying to break my own leg with my right arm one day. And I couldn't stop it. My right arm, by doing this, right, by giving myself over to the devil, a
Mm-hmm.
demon one day took over my right arm and tried to break my right femur, but in my quad, the bone in my quad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tried to literally twist it, and I was so demon possessed that my arm was so powerful, I almost felt my bone like pull right out of my hip, like my hip joint, and it bugged me out, bro, so bad that
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going down the wrong path. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got to figure out where I went wrong, who controls these spirits, and then I kneeled down and I called out to God. And I didn't believe in God. I was like, the only reason I believed in God, right, was because these things weren't killing me. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want it to be Jesus. I didn't want it to be the God of the Bible. I didn't want to let go of my sin. But when I called on God, I said, God, I know there must be something out there, and if you are there, I'll serve you for the rest of my life. If you can stop these things from taking over my body, from coming into my house. They were ripping my soul out of my body and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that night, Christ came in the form of a lamb, and like I could tell, like this was like the Lord of all creation. You know what I mean? But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know it was Christ yet. I just was like, what is this lamb? This lamb came. Then
Yeah.
I'm looking on the internet. Then on after research, I find out the lamb is Christ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then in my mind, I was raised Catholic, even though I really didn't believe in any of that junk
Yeah.
in the Catholic Church. So I went to the Catholic Church, and I told them the story, like a lifetime of drug dealing, lifetime of assaulting people, robbing people, then the occult, and I confessed it all: sexual sin, smoking crack and having sex, doing coke and having sex, multiple female partners over the course of like 15, 20 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And all they gave me like three Hail Marys and told me I was going nuts. I was like, no, man,
Mm.
this ain't gonna cut it. Like I'm demon possessed. So
Yeah.
they like basically they threw me out. And then I ended up going to another church. I found another church on the good old internet again. And then I
Mm-hmm.
went out there in New Jersey, and they were out in the woods. Like they were kind of like a similar church to what I have today, like out in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
like a small group that just deals with demon possessed people,
Yeah.
you know? And dude, I went the second I pulled up, I went there with my dad. The second I pulled up to that church, I got full blown demon possessed, tried to attack the pastor, tried to attack the people that were sitting in the church, literally foaming at the mouth, couldn't control it, completely embarrassed.
So
Like, like,
wait. Do you believe then that if somebody is demon possessed and they come, let's say, into a church like yours, which is actively doing this kind of spiritual warfare, do you think it's possible for it to elicit some kind of an uncontrollable physical reaction? Like, will the demon pretty much get very uncomfortable? Is that how it works?
Yeah, if the person's like a full-blown beast, like spilling over, yeah. Like if the person's like heavily and we have it going on here. We've seen it hundreds of times since this story I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
You know, I've been doing this now for a decade. That's how I became known on YouTube. I'll tell you in a second how it all started, like with the ministry. But anyway, like these people, to answer your question, yes, and that happened to me when I went in there, and it was embarrassing. I couldn't control myself. There was some kind of awareness, like, dude, what are you doing? But like, and in my mind, I was like, just stop acting like this. You never met these people. They're gonna think you're nuts. And these people were like totally fine with it. You know, like you could tell they had seen this like multiple times. You know, and it took like 4 guys. They held me down on the ground. And for hours, bro, casting demons out of me, one after another, holding me down on the ground. I'm trying to get up, run out the door. My father is sitting there like pale faced, you know, like what happened to my son? This looking like somebody, like looking literally like he swallowed poison. You know what I mean? Because I never even had a chance to like talk to this pastor and the people in the church. It went straight into this demonic freak show. You know what I mean? And that's when I sold everything, all my possessions, and I had a fiance at the time. We were living in sin. I just bought her a $20,000 engagement ring. I just bought her a $50,000 car, and we were about to get married. And I had to break that off. I'm like, I was kind of like you when you like dumped the Trinity doctrine or whatever happened with you there.
Yeah.
Like when you were like, here I go, I'm a heretic. Like it was like the world fell apart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone thought I was nuts. So then I had like a $600,000 condo that I sold. I bought a Mercedes Sprinter van because I was still stupid. Like I was still wasting money. Like I didn't realize like I didn't need a brand new van to like do ministry in.
Yeah.
But I bought like a nice Mercedes, one of those big black like Kanye West vans, and I started driving around the country, and I would post the videos on YouTube. I was like, hey guys, people have demons, I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
People were calling in, and that's how I got known on YouTube. You know, I traveled around the US, then I met my wife in Trinidad and Tobago. Now I have
that's awesome.
I've had 6 children in the past 7 years.
That's crazy. What's the boy to girl ratio?
I have 4 girls and 2 boys.
Oh man. Oh boy. Don't
I have
say
a
that,
little
bro.
girl like the same age as yours, kinda.
Yeah. Dang, man. 4. Did you get okay, but how many? All right, so the first one was what, a boy or a girl?
The first one was twin girls, dude.
Wow.
Like I was like, dude, talk about manifesting a demon, bro. I had that nuts. I'm like, when the doctor said they were twins, I had to walk out of the room. I needed like another exorcist, bro. I was like,
twin
what?
girls, man, for your first.
And we were living in Trinidad and Tobago, and my wife didn't have citizenship. And I was struggling to get them into the U.S., and I was all stressed out because now I'm like, not only do I need to get my wife and 1 child in, but now there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I had to contact the lawyers, get all that, you know. So, yeah, then we ended up, now I'm in Texas, in Corsicana, Texas.
Yeah, I need to look. How far are you from Houston?
Probably like 3.5 hours or something.
Okay, yeah. That's a doable drive. That's a doable drive for sure.
You got to come to the next conference. We'll show you some demonic situations and how God, deals with them,
Yeah. All right. So, okay, let's get into a little bit more serious stuff. Do you believe that Christians, born again Christians, can have demons?
100%. I know that they have demons.
Now,
I'm not guessing.
Now, you didn't just say you know that they can. You're saying you know they had, like, so Do you think it's a large percentage of born again Christians have demons?
I know that both you and I right now have.
Now we're getting to the fun stuff. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
you and I,
yeah,
where we sit, and
uh-huh.
everybody watching,
Yeah.
everybody that thinks they're Christian,
Mhm.
because your flesh isn't born again.
Right.
You're born again in the inner man. So anything you didn't yield to your spirit, any fleshly nature, when you got saved, that you didn't yield to your spirit,
Mhm.
is still the realm of the devil. That,
Yeah.
like Paul said, in my flesh dwells no good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you are the first time I ever heard that was in your interview with Sean from Kingdom in Context, where you're like, yeah, you know, you think that, you know, Christians, most Christians are walking around with demons. Now, why are you so sure that right now, in this moment, that you currently have a demon?
Because I can discern the tempting from within.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm like walking around at Walmart, there's still demons in me. Like if a girl's half naked,
Mm-hmm.
telling me, look, and I gotta, bring my members into subjection, cast down imaginations.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell the tempting's not just outside, because a part of me, if I'm honest with myself, wants to look, even though I don't look,
Mm-hmm.
right? So any Christian that's honest, can you shut that light off? Any Christian that's honest with themselves has to understand that if they're driven internally to sin, especially sexually, but even bitterness, unforgiveness, resentment, hatred, anger, all this, they have a demonic nature. If they're honest with their own self. And this is why our spirit wars against the flesh, and the flesh lusts against the spirit, and they're contrary one to another, like the Bible says, and they cannot agree, because the flesh is the realm of the devil.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, then my follow-up question to that would be, how do we know that's just not the flesh, right? How do we know that's not the flesh acting up? How are we certain that it is the cause of a literal spirit?
That's a great question. Well, that goes all the way back to the garden. So when
Mm-hmm.
God made Adam, right, before the fall,
Mm-hmm.
he looked around at everything and said, it is good, right?
Right.
Including the flesh of man, right? But
Yeah.
after he was corrupted, after the serpent entered the line of mankind and sin entered the world through Adam, right?
Right.
Then all of a sudden, everyone that was born after that is formed in iniquity in their mother's womb. So the human species, or whatever you want to call it, the human family tree is now corrupted by the devil once she gave into her curiosity. So now everybody, that's why Jesus's lineage had to be preserved, the genealogy, because he had to be born in that way, and that's why he's called the last Adam, because he's the second man born to not be born with, he was born without sin.
Mm-hmm.
The second man to be born in that way. So we were all born in that state, right?
Yeah.
And also, biblically, the problem is what's in the flesh. Like it says in the Bible, there's a law. First of all, he says, in my flesh dwells no good thing. And then he says, there's a law in my members warring against my mind, the law in my mind, causing me to do things I don't want to do. Oh, wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body of death, in Romans 7.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but isn't in that verse, doesn't Paul say it's the sin dwelling within him that causes him to behave that way? Do you think when he says that the sin dwelling within him, that he's speaking about evil spirits?
Yeah. But if you go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 7, you'll see that sin is personified. Sin is an essence. Like if I told you, and I'll just read it. It says, if thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if you doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire. So sin was personified in sin came into the world through a kingdom, the kingdom of the devil. It's like if I asked you, Don, could you be holy without the Holy Ghost? You would say no, right?
Right. Yes. I would say no.
But if I said, yeah. So, but then if I said to you, Don, could you be unclean without an unclean spirit? You'd probably, before you heard any of this, immediately say, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right or wrong?
Can you be unclean without an unclean spirit? Oh, well, I guess we would just have to. What do we mean by unclean? You know what I'm saying?
Like doing unclean things. Like,
Mm.
could you fornicate without an unclean spirit in your body?
Is it possible that just as darkness is not its own thing, but it is the absence of light, is being unclean just not being in the state of being clean? You know what I'm saying? The absence of cleanliness, the absence of the Holy Spirit. Is that possible?
No, because the Bible says if that light in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? So the Bible doesn't describe darkness as the absence of light. The Bible says darkness is its own light.
Right. I agree with that statement. It's actually in alignment with something I heard from have you caught any of my streams where we're listening to Stephen Darby?
Yeah, I don't like that you play him, dude.
I
leave you alone because I love you.
But, what don't you like about Stephen Darby? Talk to me.
Because it's literally racist mumbo jumbo. He's not educated.
Sure.
He let his wife pastor a church, dude. That's an abomination. That tells me a lot about his character.
His wife was the pastor of the church?
No, his wife is the pastor now.
But that was after he died, no?
But if he taught her right, which look, I'm a pastor, bro. My wife ain't getting behind that pulpit. Everyone here, if something happens to me, we talk about it over here. I tell people, guys, if my wife gets beat, this is the instructions for our ministry. I'm glad I'm on a live stream so everyone could hear it. If my wife ever gets behind my pulpit, the instructions are burn down the church, get cans of gasoline, burn down the church. Now, if Darby had his head screwed on straight,
right,
and I followed him before you were, and his wife would be running her mouth saying, we raise up many men of God. My husband's raising up many good men of God. Well, not a one of them took the pulpit. She took the pulpit. See, to me, that's a family business right there.
Yeah.
That's not the way.
I mean, we still gotta leave room for the possibility of, her making decisions differently than she would when he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be a situation where she lost her head, and so now she's just kind of doing her own thing. You know what I'm saying?
but that says a lot. That says a lot about the guy that was, schooling her in Christ. And what about his sons?
Right.
What about his children? Is there not anyone there that's going to be like, wait a second, Mom, get off the pulpit?
Well,
I suffer not a woman to teach.
Right. I mean, again, I can't. I'm not really going. The man's dead. Who knows what's going on over there, brother? You know what I'm saying? And I was just listening to a post she put up recently, just talking about what's going on with the ministry, and you know what I'm saying, it does feel like it's different, bro. Things are different. I think she's making decisions that she probably wouldn't make otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to speak on it because death really can drive some people crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Don, I'm not here to attack them, bro.
I know. I'm just saying,
I'm just saying, dude.
But,
I've been
around. All right. So that aside, what else don't you like about Stephen Darby? That aside, you said he's racist. What makes you think why is he racist, brother?
Because, dude, he's delusional. His facts about blacks being Israelites are delusional, racist garbage. They're not.
Why is it racist? Why is it racist?
They're not. Don, you're too smart for. You know that this is about the grace of Christ. It's not about skin color.
But why is it racist? But somebody are the Israelites, right? Somebody descended. That's what it's about for me. Obviously, we know salvation doesn't have anything to do with whether or not you are biologically descended from Israel, right? But my question to you is, why can't we entertain the argument that somewhere in the timeline, people got swapped?
All right. I'm not going to entertain the argument because it is stupid, but
Oh,
say it was
boy.
true. Let's grant that it was true.
Mhm.
If the Bible says there's neither Jew or Gentile,
Mhm.
then why is he now breaking it down to skin color, which is even more superficial
Mhm.
than culture?
Right.
That's ridiculous. You know better. You're too smart to be messing with a guy teaching that
Yeah.
carnal Christianity, bro.
I don't think it's carnal. Here's why. I find it interesting. Me personally, I think, and I've said this before, I don't know if you've heard it, the incentive of going down this road and exploring the truth behind it lies solely in the fact that if it is true, then the reason that the black community finds itself in the position it is in is not because of white people. It's not because of these laws. It's because they are under a curse by God. And so the only way that they will be able to alleviate this curse is if they return to keeping the commandments. As you know, I'm a Torah observant Christian.
Right.
So, so for me, I see it as incentive of like, oh, this could wake people up. I mean, Chris, brother, you look at who's running the music industry, right? Just look at that. Who's running the music industry? The chosen people of God, right? The chosen people of God are using the music industry to then take black people, right? And I mean, for some reason, I feel like you know about hip hop. You know that there is a side of hip hop that is very conscious, very lyrical, very high quality that most people have never even heard. And why is that? It's because that's not who they're putting on the radio. You know what I'm saying? That's not who they're putting on the radio. It did Gucci Gang by Lil Pump was that the song stuck in everybody's head because Lil Pump is the next Mozart? I don't know if you know who Lil Pump is, but he's the guy who made a song that went Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang. It was just that. It was the shortest song to ever chart on the Billboard. Did his song go viral because it just resonated with billions of people on a deep level, or is it because the radios played it nonstop every day for a month?
Well, I believe it's because they're bending over to the synagogue of Satan. Whoever's being made, because they're no talent to me, right? They're no talent bums. Half these people.
Sure.
It's all auto tune. It's all garbage. They don't even have a good voice. But what makes them have this position? It's because they're willing to sell out. They're willing to sell their body in some way, sexually. In my personal opinion,
right?
And it's stuff like this, like the stuff like this, right? And I see the chat going off on the Darby thing, but it's stuff like this, right? That Darby's right about. That Darby's right about a lot of things, about the way he articulates, the way the devil operates, the way the music industry operates. Look, I'm for it, right? But there are things that I'm not for. When you start mixing in stuff that's not true to bring separation and division and make people start to look at their skin and say, I'm more of a true Jew than that white man, then we're dealing with low-key.
Let me ask you something. Do you
my
believe?
Wife's black. You guys know my wife's black.
Yes, you said she's from Trinidad. Well, I caught
that.
Like
they're talking about me in the comments like I'm like this like white banker like coming down on the black man.
Yeah.
Like I have 6 half black children. Like, give me a break.
Yes. No, definitely. I never got it, but I can see, how people are when they like somebody. But what I'm saying though, it's like, I just don't see it as racist. I don't see how it's racist. Let's say even if he's wrong, how's it racist for him to believe that, oh, these are my ancestors? Why is that a racist thing?
Let me tell you a story about Stephen Darby that I heard.
Okay.
I heard a white guy that liked his ministry. Someone I know went to his funeral and they threw him out because he was white. They said, we ain't letting a white man in the funeral.
Well, if that's true, then that's
so
terrible.
like you don't have to believe. No one in the chat has to believe me.
Sure,
you don't have to.
Sure. But again, that wouldn't have been his decision, right? Because he was dead.
Well, yeah, but I got you. But you can make those claims all day, bro. Right. But if that's the kind of stuff his wife and sons are doing, and the congregants, it shows what they were behind when the YouTube video was off.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and
that's true. That's true. I agree that with that
that would
logic.
never happen here. Like if I died and a
Hmm.
white guy, well, first off, I'm white, so
Yeah.
just switch it. Say if I died and a black guy came, he wouldn't be getting barred out by my disciples that are here with me at the church
Yeah.
after I'm dead.
Yeah.
Here, I shouldn't have told the story because now they're like, where's the proof?
Right.
Well, dude, what do you want me to do? Get someone else on here to tell the
Don't
story?
worry about the chat, brother. Don't worry about the chat. The chat is a living, breathing thing with a mind of its own. You know, it will attack me as well if it feels like it. Don't worry about them. You know, they're all. So here's the thing. Yeah, if that's true about Stephen Darby, that sucks. You know, that if that happened at his funeral and all that. Again, I mean, I'm not a racist person. I don't feel like I'm 1% any more racist by entertaining the possibility that the ancestors of, you know, many of the people living in the Americas today, right? And it's not just black people, right? You have people in Australia, you have people in South America, you have the Native Americans, and even the like mainstream Hebrew Israelites, they will tell you, yeah, it's not, oh, just every black person in America and nobody else. You know, they look at Brazilians, Mexicans, you know, and they're finding traces that, like lineage through that as well. And none of us can ever say for certain, right? Because without, you know, that would require going back thousands of years, you know, in our family trees to know for certain. So for me, it's not about like race or anything like that. If anything, it's more so about who we're told that these people are. You get what I'm saying? It's for me, it's less about me being one and more about, or I won't say it's less about. I think it's equally about that. But as well as, oh, so who are these people? What is the role that these people play in the grand scheme of things, should this argument be true? You know what I'm saying? And then we look at the mainstream culture. You look at who's heading the companies that are pushing the medicine. Who's heading the music industries that's pushing the violent music? Who's heading the entertainment industries that are making these movies? Like, you look at it and you see a pattern. To say there's not a pattern is not true. You see a pattern.
Well, I agree. It's a synagogue of Satan running not only that, but all the major banks and everything.
Okay,
You know
so to me, I was like, so why is that racist? Why is that racist to acknowledge
No, it's
that?
not. That part's not racist. What I'm saying is, for black people to be going around looking at white people thinking they're not the true Israelite, like Darby's teaching, is not historically correct.
Okay.
It's Hebrew Israelite racist doctrine.
Mhm.
We're all mixed in. We all have some. If we all went and took an ancestry test, 99% of us would have some Jewish blood in us.
Possibly. I mean, I don't
You know
even
what?
know.
Yeah, and there's not too many white people too interested in Stephen Darby's stories or sitting in his church. You ever notice that? Like, did you
Yeah.
ever see 6 white guys walking down the street, like busting out Darby's doctrine, saying, "Yeah, the black man's the true Israelite. We got to get on this wagon." No, it doesn't happen because you're like you said, you're like, bro, it's not even about me being one. And then you were like, well, actually,
It is partly about me being one. Why? Not for me like specifically, but again, like I was saying about how, you know, if it is true, then black people as a whole, you know, at least like in America, are under a divine curse that can only be lifted by obedience to the commandments of God. So that's where I feel like is relevant. Outside of that, then yeah, it would have no significance. I mean, apparently there are also prophecies that specifically pertain to the blood seed of Israel. At least that's how I've heard. I mean, I haven't looked super into that to say whether that's true or not. That's just an argument I've heard. So that could be another angle where this information is relevant to people today. But
isn't the white man under the same exact curse that you're talking about and every other sinner?
this, no, I'm not talking about the curse of, the law in terms of, being punished in the lake of fire. I'm talking
No,
about,
you said the black man's under a curse and he can't come out of it until he repents and comes to Christ, right?
well, yeah, well, I'm talking about the Deuteronomy 28 curses. I'm saying that could be a good explanation of why African Americans and the black experience as a whole is the way it is in this country. I mean, we
Well,
are
it's like
the bottom tier of like society, and that's without question, right? We are.
I don't know, bro. Like times are changed. Like times have clearly changed. I mean, everybody is listening to black artists, watching sports, and
Right.
most of forget about basketball. You can't find a white face in the pile. It's hard. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
not talking about things like that. I'm talking about, I'm saying, just if let's say I was in the regular workforce, right? Let's say I was like an accountant or whatever, and I knew I was going up against a white guy for this accounting position. I
right?
just know that this white guy is going to, he has an advantage where that's concerned. All else being equal, same skills, same work experience, same thing. I just know perception wise, right? You know what I'm saying? And even with me, maybe not so much, like, like it's a case by case person, but I'm just saying. And yeah, man, where is that coming from? It's because that is the way that's this culture, right? That's this culture. I can say that honestly. And I'm not even saying, oh, the guy who makes the decision, like in his heart, is a racist person. It's just,
Right,
it's
right.
the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like people.
Well, I think it depends what realm you're going into. Like, yeah, if mainly it was like white Europeans controlling all this money stuff and banking stuff for like years, and now, other races are coming in to like get hired in these companies. Yeah, it's like you're coming in new. But like for me, like to be a minister online, people would
Mhm.
accept my words much better on YouTube today if I was a black dude. I could tell you that right now. Like, there's like
What do you mean?
reverse racism going down, you know?
I don't know about.
Yeah, no,
No.
seriously,
I don't
dude.
think.
Like David
Look,
Lynn could get up there. Like, let's look at the example, right?
yeah.
David Lynn could get up there
Mm-hmm.
and literally deny the Trinity in his preaching. Like, we've proved it. Like, he doesn't teach
I
that.
was listening to a sermon he was doing recently, and I was like, he don't sound Trinitarian, but
Dude, he's not.
he
He's
doesn't
not.
sound Trinitarian. But he also, I don't think he'll ever come out and be like, oh yeah, I'm a Unitarian. I don't know about that. I feel like,
No, he won't. You're right. He
yeah,
won't. He absolutely won't. But if I said when I say the same things he says,
mm-hmm.
I am an art. Me and you, because you came out directly and said you're not a Trinitarian,
Yeah.
which you're right. He would never do. But if I
Never say
said,
never. Never say never. Right.
well, look, I've had interactions with him also, so I'm judging by my past interactions that he
Yeah.
is not going to want the trouble and he's not going to want the headache or the loss of followers to
Right.
come out directly and say, no, I don't believe in the Trinity doctrine that you all believe in.
Yeah.
But like my point is this,
Mm-hmm.
because he's got dreadlocks and he's in the looking hip, and I'm like this goofy, bald, half, dead white guy, some old man, right? If I say that, people are like, this guy's a heretic. If David Lynn says it, he's a hero. He's their
Nah,
favorite.
if David Lynn came out and said, I don't believe in the Trinity, best believe you're going to get the same waterfall of heretic, he not saved, child of the devil. You know what I'm saying? Sam Shamoon go make 10 videos about him. You know what I'm saying? So for certain, brother. But I do get what you're saying, though, right? Different people have the ability to appeal to different audiences. But for a fact, brother, there are plenty of churches all across the country, every state you go into, it's all white people in there. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody.
No.
Yes, I've been to churches like that here in Texas, where it's
No,
like,
there's cliques. There's black churches that
right.
go,
So I'm
gang
saying
up.
everybody got their audience, bro. You know, everyone has their audience. Everyone has their cup of tea. But so yeah, I'm not surprised that Reverend Darby didn't have a very large white viewer base. No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because he was speaking to the black people. He was speaking to black people. You feel me?
That alone is unbiblical, bro.
Why is that? Why is that unbiblical?
Because the gospel isn't just for black people, and he should equally
Mm-hmm.
want white people to hear it as he wants black people to hear it.
Yeah. Well,
So look, I'm not saying just shut everything off that he says, because I think he's a gifted orator. I think he's got spiritual discernment, right?
yeah.
But I think in that area, I would be sad if you went down that road
mm-hmm.
of clinging on to that the blacks are the only true Israelite.
I've never said that. I've never said the blacks are the only true Israelites.
No, I didn't say you said it. I said I would be upset if I saw you, because I see you watching them sometimes when I come on, and I'm like, no, don't. And look, you may somehow I'm a mod. I don't even know how to mod. I barely know how to use like any of the functions on these things.
Yeah.
But like, I'm a mod, so out of respect, I like just chill back, and I'm like, all right, Don's watching Darby. I'm gonna dip out, going somewhere else, you know. The white man is gonna dip out the back door quietly.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, like I like Darby. I don't think he's racist. Could there be? I mean, he's said things that I can see how you would say, oh, that was a little racist. I could see that. I could say that.
Why don't we get one of the viewers to like go in there, like a white guy that's viewing this right now?
Yeah.
To go in there with a hidden camera.
Into Darby's church?
Yeah, into the Jezebel pastored black
Panther don't party. Do that. Don't do that. There, you know,
You don't want to see the truth? You can't handle the truth?
Listen,
just one redheaded Irish follower.
Yeah, I can't use anything of what's going on with that place now to come to any truth about who Darby was. You know what I'm saying? That's just unfair. That's just unfair.
But bro, that would be like you taking Timothy and like not expecting him to look like Paul.
I mean, bro, look, you got Judas and you got Peter, right? They both followed Jesus.
I know, but one of them's a foreordained devil.
Right.
We could talk about that if you want to go into determinative.
Yeah.
Another day. You want to talk about demons today?
Yes, let's talk about demons.
Bro, this is my problem with this Darby garbage. Because what did Jesus do? He cast out demons. He laid hands on the sick. He preached repentance. But because Darby's preaching some race, in my opinion, some racist Israelite doctrine, we just couldn't tell people how to get free of their demonic oppression for literally 30 minutes. And that's what it does, bro. It diverts.
Okay. All right. But wait. You gotta. So the racist problem you think is black people entertaining the idea that they are descendants of Israel. That's the racist problem.
I think they're going to get demonized. They're going to be puffed up with pride. Their attention's going to be diverted from the focus of the grace of God, casting out devils, praying for the sick, visiting the needy, and they're going to be walking around saying, I'm the real Jew, not you, white man. And they're going to be looking at white people saying, maybe not out loud, but in their heart, they're going to be like, yeah, there goes white boy, the fake Christian, or the halfway, not real chosen kind of Christian, because I'm the chosen kind of Christian, but they're just the filthy Gentile white man let in the back door, the second-rate citizen Christian. And that's demonic, bro.
Well, I think you put a little sauce on it. I also don't think that's the position that like that's certainly not what was in my mind when I came into it. If anything, it was like, oh, okay, now I understand why my people have been so just are treated so, brother, I can say honestly, I remember having a conversation with my father when I was like 16 or 17 on the phone, and I'm just talking to him, and I'm like, Dad, like, honestly, in this world, like, I basically said something along the lines of, oh, I wish I was white, and not be for no other reason than the life that I've seen is like that is being lived by the white race. I was like, this is just objectively better. I feel as if I was born into a cursed body. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked in the mirror and been like, oh, because of the ethnicity I was born into, I feel as if I was birthed on the hardest level of human, the game human.
No,
right?
I'll admit, I never have. I'll
And
admit
so
that.
it's like, yeah, and I was born into a fair amount of privilege in the sense of, you know what I'm saying, like, there are people who are born into families where nobody loves them and they have to worry about, I can say honestly, for my entire life, I've never like, oh, I wonder if we're going to eat today. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was still born into a fair amount of privilege, but no, by no means like well off for American middle class. Not even that much, but still, knowing how dark it can get, knowing how bad some people do have it, I still see my life as being raised with privilege. You know, I know my parents got divorced when I was 4, but I know my dad, you know, very well, you know, and so
Right.
I still see that as, oh, I was born into privilege. That said, yeah, man, you know, it's there's a lot of negative self-talk, and it's like, why is this, and it's all to do with race, like, and so for me it was just like this makes it make sense. This makes it make sense.
But
The
he
idea.
knows that, bro. But he knows that. Do you understand? He knows that when he speaks this stuff, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna exactly for the reason you're saying. It's gonna seduce people to look into this stuff. And I'm telling you this in love, and I'm not trying to attack Darby, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to attack you. This is not the gospel of Christ. This what we're talking about, and what this topic. Christ is not about skin color. There is no special Israelite with a special skin color today that's different than anybody else. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about Jew or Gentile. You know that. I know you already know it,
Yeah.
and I can tell you already know what I'm telling you. So I don't have a need to even stay on this.
Mm-hmm.
But like my thing is when you're watching Darby, he's got all this truth, right? About all the spiritual facts of the devil and how the devil corrupts people and how slick Jezebel is. And dude, I've probably seen more Darby videos than you, believe it or not, over the years, right?
Sure.
But this thing he's got, that on the other hand, this thing that builds up pride inside the African brothers or the black brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not of God. Trust me, I'm not guessing. It's not biblical. You can't show it to me in the New Testament. You
Mm-hmm.
can't show it to, and you know this.
So what? That, I mean, Joseph blended in with the Egyptians. That, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's this channel where this guy does really amazing work, given all of the biblical evidences for the fact that the Israelites were a dark-skinned people.
Well, oh, of course they must have had darker skin than me, likely, and
I
some of them
mean,
might
they
have had lighter skin.
were Egyptians black? How does Joseph, how does Moses pass as the black Egyptian pharaoh's grandson if he looks like an Ashkenazi Jew?
Well, we don't really know exactly their skin color, so like I'm not. If the Bible doesn't
You
say
think
it,
at any period of time, very fair-skinned people decided to settle, like, in the desert area? You think that isn't the whole argument for why white people, you typically find them in very northern regions, is because, like, it's harder for y'all to be outside in the sun all day, right? It's not good for your skin. Like, I grew up in Jamaica.
Don, you know you get burnt when you go out in that
I
Texas
don't.
sun.
I
It's the
don't.
same as a white man.
I don't.
You could stay out in this sun, right?
I've gone running in a 100-degree weather 6 miles noon, like, and I did not get sunburned.
What?
Brother? I grew up in listen. I grew up in Jamaica, right? School is
But Jamaicans built different.
School is outside, bro. Right there, you know, like how in America it's like a big building, right? And so you're walking through hallways and everything's indoors and air conditioned, and outside is like you might go outside to go to the building, like you got to leave this building to go into the other building, right? So you go outside briefly, or if you want to eat outside, you eat outside. School is outside. Every room, every classroom, to leave that classroom, you're now outside again, right? So you're outside a lot. I would go to basketball practice in Jamaica, right? Starts at 2:45 in the afternoon, blistering sun, and we're out there all day, bro, until the sun goes down.
Dude,
and nobody put on sunscreen. Nobody was putting on sunscreen. No one's coming to practice the next day. Oh, my neck, I got sunburned. And this is children, bro.
All right, now for the first time, I think what you were saying, like I was born the wrong race. Finally now, today, like I admitted before when you asked me that never happened. But if you could really stay out in this sun, and we're basically under the same sun because you're only 3 hours away. So if you could stay out in this right now for 10 hours or even 8 hours, and not burn.
I never said 8. I mean, the sun ain't even up that high for 8 hours straight.
You look like you're lying now, bro.
What are you talking about? How many hours? I could stay out there all day. I could have an outdoor job. I can get out there at the crack of dawn and be outside all day.
Just no shirt, just like 4 or 5 hours, not even red on the back, nothing.
I definitely believe by the end of the week, like, if I go from being inside all day, every day, not getting any sunlight to, I want to go out tomorrow all day in 95-degree weather. Yes, I'll get sunburn. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm going outside on a regular basis, like I could go from being that person to by the end of the week, being able to be outside all day and not get burned. If I would go out.
Well, then I want to be like that because, dude, I paint my buildings out here with stuff, and the sun eats the paint and the beats up the metal. So if your skin, if your skin could take 10 hours of this and not burn, or even 8. Even 6, dude. I was born the wrong race for the first time. I admit it.
Not, brother. It's nah. Listen.
I'm jealous now. I'm like jealous now, man.
Wait. So what do you think? Do you think all of the slaves in Egypt and in America were just constantly sunburned?
No, I think
everybody was just walking around with sunburn all the time.
No, but even me, if I'm out in the sun day in and day out, I don't burn anymore either. But it takes in the beginning of the summer, I got to go through that 1-2 week adjustment.
Sure.
Okay. But you're saying for you come like literally out of an igloo.
I just said no. I just said that's not true. I never said that. Yes, I gotta acclimate as well. You know what I'm saying? It might take me a day or two, but and I won't have to go through like a peeling or anything. Brother, It's just, there are people in Africa right now living in huts, right? They're in this sun 365 every day. They don't got no sunscreen, and they're chilling.
Dude, I got a white boy from New Zealand I led to the Lord out here, and he goes out there for like 2 hours, and we almost got to put him on a stretcher, like from his calves all the way to his forehead. He's like got 3rd-degree burns, and we got to like almost wheel that guy to the hospital.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Chris. So it's like, you think those Israelites had that kind of a constitution, that kind of a physical constitution, or would they not more likely have the skin that would allow them to bear that kind of work for hundreds of years?
Just to answer your question directly, I think depending on the tribe, they had a range of, from more fair skin, not like some guy from Poland, but
Okay.
someone maybe ranging maybe like what I look like when I'm tan. Not
Sure.
even now.
Sure.
I've been inside. I haven't been outside because I hurt my elbow.
Okay.
But what I look like when I'm working outside, because I'm Sicilian, I'm Italian, so like maybe olive skinned, ranging to like a skin color like you have, or even darker, depending on what tribe they're from.
Right.
You know, and depending on, you know, what family they're from or whatever. And I don't think it's anything we should be focusing on today. That's my point.
Okay, let me shout out a couple of super chats.